And we have Bruce Farr with us. Can you do a short introduction just for the people who maybe are not familiar with you?
Yep, I'm an old guy now, but I used to sail a lot in my youth and then became a sailboat designer and a boat builder. Got out of sailing or competitive racing for a long time, and about 4 years ago got back into sailing through radio control sailing with a TF95. And then a year or so ago I got talked into an IOM development, offered to lend me one for
we don't think there are any sailors who are not familiar with your name, but how did you get into this hot fever in IOM?
Well, I retired and moved to Florida, and eventually when I started getting bored I found the local radio control sailing club and showed up there, and someone gave me a radio and then I was hooked.
That's it. It only took is take your radio and that's it, huh?
Yep.
Awesome. And now this is basically your first big event, the only one which you had, from what I know.
Yeah, it's my first big event in the IOM.
Yes. How did you feel comparing this to the other sailing classes before?
It's well, the event is obviously a lot more competitive, so that makes it more challenging, especially for an old guy without much experience like me. And with my background, I can set the boats up reasonably well, but I have a lot to learn or relearn, really, about racing.
Relearn, I like that. So
yeah.
That's why I wanted to ask you now. As you mentioned it, you have a lot to relearn. I mean, there is also a big technical side in the IOM, and there is also a big sailing strategy tactics side. Which ones do you prefer, or do you like mixing both, or what are your thoughts on that?
I like mixing both. My strengths are more at the technical end, setting up the boat, trying to get boat speed, and I'm pretty hopeless at the tactical side, so that's where I'm really weak. But getting better with.
So you're a big fan then of open box rules?
Yeah, I think they have their place, and the IOM is obviously the pinnacle of the sport in RC sailing now, in terms of a development class that allows people to have fun experimenting with things. And I think it's the box rule is the obvious thing to do that.
And as you have recently came into the IOM class, maybe do you have some of the advices, like what you went through for the new guys coming here, new sailors who are aspiring to push their luck into IOM sailing?
Yeah, just experience. When I was a kid, we used to say the three most important things in learning to race fast are time in the boat, and time in the boat. And I think that applies here too.
Absolutely.
Find someone who you can race against, someone similar level, and just go and put time in to get better.
How do you feel so far about US sailors? More of them are coming, stepping their game up and becoming better and better. Do you feel they are having here in USA a growing community which should be even more competitive than in all of these years previously?
I think that's definitely the case in the IOM, and that there's a big depth of talent in the IOM class in the US now compared to 5 years ago. So I think it's up and coming.
Do you see yourself in future events in IOM, maybe even traveling abroad on some big events?
I don't know, I'm a bit old for this, so I see my mental faculties fading a little bit as my experience makes up for that. And I'm comfortable doing national events, but I'm not sure I would travel for it.
Yeah, it's a bit tough when you have to carry everything around. I know that, yeah. But we do have legends and grandmasters and stuff like that.
Yeah, I think I was the top legend here.
There you go.
This time, so that's something.
That's absolutely something.
Yeah, that's a good start.
No. Well, regarding that, how do you feel about your event so far? I mean, we'll be changing also on two positions on the upper side and here on the beach. Can you let us know how did you went up there on the first racing course and now in 2 days on the second racing course?
Well, I was a mixed bag on both courses, and they had good days and bad days, and that's kind of the issue you have when you're not very experienced. But the sandy shore is much nicer to sail on, and yesterday I sailed pretty well there and clawed my way up from 30 to 14th, and then today I blew it a bit and ended up back down at 18th. So,
there were some pretty big thrills from all of the sailors who were watching you and Ken, as the two big names, big legends in the IOM. and we all wanted to thank you for coming and enjoying spending some time with us. And that's why I wanted to, for a final question, let you say a couple of words, maybe say hi for all the people who you know here.
Yeah, well, one of the neat things about this actually was to re-meet people who I've known from the past, especially people like Kenny, who I haven't seen probably for 10 years. And one of the great things about these regattas is that you meet a lot of great sailors, and that's a lot of fun. Maybe more fun than the sailing this time.
There you go. Absolutely, a big part of IOM class is the community. I agree with that.
Yes.
Well, thank you very much, Bruce, and
Okay.
we'll be enjoying this with you.
Thank you.